Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining me for the very first episode of Reviews. Get it? Reviews? Alright, of course you get it. I am Re, aka SGA Flash, aka Flash Extreme. And today, you will be joining me for my new series here where I review games, movies, electronics, pretty much all of that stuff, everything in between. Maybe some TV shows, some anime stuff, who knows. But today, we're starting with games. And I will be starting with Madden NFL 21. I'll be reviewing Madden for the Xbox One. And my history with Madden is I've pretty much played every Madden game since the 1993 John Madden football on Sega Genesis, I believe. And I've played every year version since then. Some have been great. Looking at you, Madden 05, Madden 08. Some of you have been terrible. Looking at you, Madden 25, and most Madden since then. But again, Madden is a very, historied series. Like I said, some good games, some bad games, and it's very polarizing. People love to hate it. People love to love it. So let's just dive right on into it. So, Madden 21. It's hard to review Madden without, looking back on the previous year and previous iterations of Madden. If you just reviewed Madden each year individually, let's say Madden 21 was the first Madden you've played in 10 years, you'd probably think it was amazing just because of what you have to reference it, versus in comparison to. But we can't just do that. We have to hold EA and the developers accountable for Madden as it is a yearly product. It's not something that just comes out every few years, but it probably should. But it's a yearly game. This is a yearly release game. They don't take 5 years off and give you a great game every 5 years. That's not what they do. So let's just get right into it with starting off with the graphics. It's Madden graphics. This is what you've seen for the last few years. Not much have changed. It's cleaned up over the years. The EA's obviously they figured out what to do with the current generation of consoles. With the Xbox One X, the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. So they've figured this out. The graphics are good. Obviously, they're nothing special. Pretty much the same like you saw last year at Madden 20. I would say temper that because you probably get a graphical boost once we get the new consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So hold on to that. Again, take it for what you will. Let's move right along into the core of things, the gameplay. This is where things get very dicey. It plays like how you would expect it to play, right? It plays like Madden 20. A lot of people, including myself, this game is Madden 20.5. I wouldn't even call it Madden 20 2.0. It's not even that. This is just more of what you got from last year. It has small improvements to the fluidity of gameplay, yes, but again, nothing groundbreaking or even steps in the quote-unquote right direction. It's just more of the same. Slight improvements, but not enough for you to warrant any big expectations. Because guess what? The animations still dictate gameplay in Madden, which has been its biggest legacy flaw. That they refuse to fix because you can't fix it on a 4 to 6 month development cycle, and that's what they do with these games. It's not as bad as in Madden 20, but at the same time, animations are still dictating gameplay, and that's a problem because that means a lot of plays are semi-predetermined, kind of after the ball carrier has the ball. Pre-snap is one thing, you pick your plays, you make those decisions, but once the ball is in play and you've gotten it to whoever you decide is going to be your designated ball carrier, whether it be handing it off or throwing a pass, things kind of just play out how the game decides animations will, play it out. And that's been Madden's biggest flaw, and it's largely the same. So let's move right on to one of the game modes in Madden, franchise mode. When you play Madden, when you play most football games of this particular era that we've gotten to, technologically speaking, franchise is supposed to be the premier mode. This is what keeps people coming back to play these games, right? You get in a connected franchise, and you play it out with your friends, or you play it out on an offline by yourself, whatever the case may be. But you build your team, you draft your team, you do all these things. You work free agents, player progression, all that stuff. Fine. But what's not fine is that between Madden 20 and 21, there's been no change. No change whatsoever. It is absolutely unacceptable. It's a slap in the face to anybody that plays these games that come here, for the franchise mode, which is a large percentage of gamers that play this game. So it's unacceptable to release this product, call it a new game, a step, the new step in the franchise, and again, no pun intended, not improve the franchise mode itself. It's absolutely a farce. I just don't get it. And for the hardcore franchise gamer, this is the product you're getting. You're getting the same product. There's nothing new here for you. So unfortunately, again, if you're a franchise gamer, and I fashioned myself to be, a large franchise gamer over the years, they're beating you over the head with the same product. So it's very unfortunate, and this game takes a huge hit to its score because of the lack of improvements, the lack of focus, the lack of detail that went into the franchise mode of this game. Period. End of story. So let's move along to another mode here, and that is the Madden Ultimate Team mode, also known as MUT. Here's the thing with MUT. MUT is the reason why franchise can't get any improvements from the developers, because they put so much of their focus into MUT because of the microtransactions, and because there's so many MUT gamers, which are usually, I like to call them the casual gamers, but it's hard to even call that because MUT requires a lot of grinding. So really, they're not really casual. They're just hardcore MUT players. They're not here for anything else. They're not here for franchise. They're not here for any other modes that are in this game. They're here for MUT. They're here to build a superstar powerhouse team and take it as far as they can as quick as possible. There are people out here trying to get 90 plus overall teams within the first week, and they do it because this is their mode. So this is where EA puts their focus. This is where they put their focus. They put their time and effort into improving MUT, because this is where they see residual income on this game and the microtransactions from this game. It's because of MUT. MUT in itself, aside from that though, MUT in itself is a good mode from a fun factor. It's a fun mode, with the team building and getting cards and doing different challenges. When it was introduced, it added a nice change of direction for gameplay. You had your exhibition, your online stuff, and franchise was there. And then when MUT was introduced, it just added a different element to the game that was very positive. Now it's become very negative because of their focus. It's taking away from the other modes in the game, which is not good. But again, MUT itself, it's fun. It's fun to play. It's fun, with your friends. You get on there, you play MUT squads. Very fun. And again, it's the mode that's it's a grindy mode. So, if you're one of those gamers that likes to put a lot of time into something, very similar to playing an open world RPG where you're just kind of grinding, you're grinding for gear and levels and different, equipment, stuff like that. This is that kind of very similar mode. You're doing the same thing. You're grinding through challenges. They add different challenges every week. They put a lot of focus into MUT. It's good because this is where they put their focus. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let me move on to face of the franchise. And I won't spend much time here because this is not why you're here. Nobody is buying Madden 21 for face of the franchise. Nobody bought Madden 20 for face of the franchise. It's not a good mode. If Madden, face of the franchise is supposed to be superstar mode. For anybody that played Madden in the days where superstar mode was there, when you had a player and you could individualize the player, take them through a career, through college or whatever the case may be, and you can pick any position you wanted and just play it out. Great. This is what face of the franchise was supposed to be. Nobody asked for this mode as it exists. So EA heard that everybody wanted a superstar mode back, and this is what they gave us last year, and doubled down on it this year. No, this is not what we want. Face of the franchise is garbage. Nobody asked for it, and at the end of the day, this is not what we wanted from this mode. And with that said, we're going to move right along to the last mode here that I'm going to talk about, which is the Yard. This is the newest addition to the Madden franchise, and it's an excellent addition. Now, I'm going to save that with some caveats here, and mainly that being that this mode is, while good, in addition to the game that is meant, in my opinion, to hide the fact that nothing else was improved within the game. Franchise mode, they did nothing with. Face of the franchise arguably is worse than it was. MUT is still good, and that's a primary focus for them, but obviously it's largely unchanged for the most part. They really did nothing else with this game except a roster update, and uniform update, stadium updates, whatever, and small, kind of tweaks to the gameplay. So they gave us the Yard, a mode obviously they put some work into. In my opinion, it's a mode that was also put in because of the fact that they wanted to have something to combat 2K being able to make an arcade style game, because obviously EA has the license for simulation football, if that's what you wish to call this, but they're the ones that can make that. So 2K is going to get to make an arcade football game, which they are doing. So Madden, I know for a fact, wanted something to combat that mode, and that's what the Yard is. It's very similar, in grind to what they give you in the 2K Park. Obviously, 2K Park is way more, detailed, but this is a good addition to the game. It's fun. It's great to play with your friends, obviously, like MUT squads. I won't say this mode is perfect. It has come with some issues early on that they did fix, and I did do the review of this game post the Day Zero patch because I did have that early access to the game, which was very much what Madden, EA used that as like beta because they didn't have a true beta time for this game. So I guess they used the early access part of the time schedule and having everybody have access to all the early access people that were able to play through EA Play. They were effectively the beta, obviously, because once they got the feedback from everybody and they saw all the videos that were out there, I put some out there myself. They released a Day Zero patch, once this game was live for everybody, and it fixed a lot of the issues that the Yard had, because the Yard was included incomplete because they wanted to just get it in and out because they realized because let's not forget that the announcement of the Yard into Madden was after the initial information that was put out about Madden and the fact that there was nothing added to franchise mode at all. And franchise players were pissed, which is where the Fix Madden franchise movement was born from. And the inclusion of the Yard came after that. So as if to say, well, we can't do anything with franchise this year, but here's this other mode that we've been working on for like a month. Okay, so they put it in incomplete, and there were some issues with solo play and glitches and things like that, but that's been fixed, and I do not factor that into my score of this game or of that mode, individually. But again, it's very good. The only problem I also see with the yard is when you're playing by yourself, solo, against the computer, which is fine. It's still fun. You can still, improve your players' skills. The different prototypes are excellent. They're great. They add a nice little element to the gameplay. You can pick a position on the field that you want to, 6-on-6 backyard style. You can pick a position, whether it be, wide receiver, cornerback, quarterback, safety, halfback, outside linebacker, middle linebacker, tight end, which is called center, but it's really a tight end. And then you pick a prototype, and they have different, they got like the lockdown corner prototypes, or the hybrid safety jacked up, so they got the different prototypes in there, the golden arm, aka the Aaron Rodgers prototype build, for you to play around with. And the only thing, again, is solo. It just feels kind of boring, right? It has an empty, like, soulless kind of feel to it. Which is, it's not great, but you can still get in there, play by yourself, improve your player prototype, work on your different prototypes, and then take it in, where you play with your friends. Now, again, I did say it was 6-on-6, but keep in mind that when you go online to play it, it will be 3v3. Still 6 players, but there can only be 3 human players on each team at a time. That's the max. So it can be anywhere from 1 to 3 when you go online. So when you and 2 of your buddies, go online to play this, understand that you will each be controlling 2 players. It'll be every snap. When you start a snap, you'll be controlling your particular avatar that you've created. And if you switch off, it'll switch off to one other player. I don't think that player is not predetermined. It's just a matter of which player is available and who clicks off to this, next closest person to the ball type of thing. But you will start every play as your personal avatar, with the option to switch off to somebody else. So that's kind of how the yard plays out. Like I said, very fun. The prototypes are cool. It's a good mode. It's a good addition. I just wish that it wasn't in lieu of being used as kind of smoke and mirrors to hide the fact that nothing else was done with this game. It's unfortunate because had this game this mode been included in its own unique kind of style, because really the gameplay itself, it's still the same Madden gameplay. It's just the rules are different, and you can do little slick things like when the guy does a spin move, he puts the ball between his legs and does the spin, or when he does the juke, he puts the ball behind his back and does the juke. So they've tweaked some of the animations specifically for the yard, and that's what that is. They didn't create a whole new game mode from the ground up. What would have been great is the yard could have been released as a separate product and just called it NFL Street 4 or whatever NFL Street number we'd be up to at this point. NFL Street, it just could have been a whole different mode by itself. NFL Street was fantastic. That's one of arguably EA's greatest football products, is those first few NFL Street games. But I digress. This is not about NFL Street. This is about Madden 21. And that is all the modes in the game. I've talked about all that, the graphics and the gameplay. And now I will get into the score for Madden NFL 21 reviewed on the Xbox One. My score for Madden 21 is cumulatively based on what I've talked about. Madden, from me, out of a scale on 1 to 10 using decimals, it gets a 5.1, which is not good. Would I recommend Madden 21 to a Madden 20 player? That depends on the kind of Madden 20 player that you are. If you're a MUT player, sure, go ahead, because your mode is still there and your mode is going to be focused on. They focus on MUT every week the game is out. There's new players, there's special Halloween card players. They got different legends. How many legends and Hall of Famers pool do they have to pull from? Right? So that mode is endless, and it's good for that. If you're a franchise player and you come to Madden for franchise, do not buy this game. Do not buy this game if you are a franchise solely a franchise player, don't do it. You will be disappointed and upset that you spent your hard-earned $60 on this game. I promise you, you will be mad. If you're buying it for content, you kind of don't have a choice. You got to go buy it. If you're buying it for the, if you're really curious about the yard, hopefully you game share with somebody if you're an Xbox player, and you can split the cost. Because if you split the cost for $30, playing the yard is maybe not so, and you're going to play the yard, maybe you might play some MUT. It's probably worth about $30. Because if EA came out and told you, hey, we're making a new game for this year, it's just a season update, new rosters, uniforms, stadiums, etc., but we're really working on a new game for the following year, but we're just going to release this new game for this year with a season update, it's going to be $30. Would you buy it? Yeah, probably most of us would buy it, especially if they included a new mode such as the yard. So for $30, is it worth it? Yeah, probably. But $60? Unless you're a hardcore MUT player, or if you're somebody who, if you're a pro gamer, or these people that play, that get good enough to play in the Madden championships, when I say good, I do that with quotations because good is subjective, right? They just learn how to exploit the crappy animations that exist in Madden. But yeah, overall, do I recommend a purchase? No, my score is 5.1. That's not a recommended purchase on what is going to be the standard here on reviews. So no, 5.1 out of 10. I would not purchase for $60. So again, thank you for joining me for the very first episode of Reviews. This has been Madden NFL 21. I will have more games in the future. I will have electronic reviews in the future, movie reviews, and again, as I said, possibly even TV reviews. Who knows? We will cross that bridge when we get there. But thank you for joining me for the very first episode, and hopefully you join me for the next episode. You can catch me at SGA Flash on Twitter, on Instagram, and come on over to Sports Gaming Anonymous. Check out our Facebook page, and we can link you to everything you need to from there, and also check out our YouTube page. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Peace out.